In 2008, a hedge fund manager paid $47 million for a Palm Beach estate. He looked at the house for 4 minutes, then knocked it down within 6 months. The house was irrelevant. The address was everything. Most people think a billionaire mansion is just a bigger version of a rich person's house. More bedrooms, bigger pool, longer driveway. They're not wrong. They're just describing the bottom of a very long ladder. Because at a certain point, a mansion stops being real estate and starts being infrastructure. It stops being a place you live and starts being a system that operates around you. Let's get into it. Level 1, the first signal. $5 million to $15 million. This is the mansion that tells the world something changed. 8,000 to 14,000 square feet. Gated entry. Right zip code. Beverly Hills south of Sunset. Coral Gables. Scottsdale's guard-gated enclaves. The landscaping is maintained. The pool is heated. The home theater actually gets used. But here's the truth about Level 1. The buyer made one decision: location. Everything else was decided by a developer who built this house for a buyer he never met. The buyer moved into someone else's vision and called it home. Reality check. At $10 million, you are still buying a product. It was built to sell. It was designed to photograph well, stage well, and close fast. The house doesn't know you. You moved in. There's a difference. Level 2, the custom build. $15 million to $40 million. This is where a billionaire stops buying and starts building. The difference between Level 1 and Level 2 is not price, it's intention. Level 2 begins with a conversation between the owner and an architect. Someone who asks, "How do you move through a morning?" and "Where does the light need to be at 7 a.m.? 12,000 to 22,000 square feet. Every material specified, every threshold considered. The garage holds 8 cars but doesn't look like a garage. The primary suite has a morning room, a room that exists for no other purpose than sitting in before the day begins. Here's what changes. The house now has a point of view. You cannot find this house anywhere else. That specificity makes it completely impossible to replicate. And that impossibility is where the value conversation begins to change entirely. Level 3, the private estate. $40 million to $80 million. At this level, the house is no longer the main character. The land is. 5 acres minimum, sometimes 20. There is distance between the gate and the front door, and that distance is not decorative. It is functional. It exists because the person who lives here has decided that the outside world requires a journey to reach them. Guest house, staff quarters, wellness building, climate-controlled car gallery. The landscaping is not lawn maintenance, it is horticulture. Annual carrying cost, $1.5 to $4 million. The estate is now a small operation. There is a household manager whose only job is to ensure the owner never has to think about the estate unless they choose to. Level 4, the trophy compound. $80 million to $150 million. This is where real estate becomes a category of its own. Trophy compounds do not appear on MLS. They circulate through private networks. A broker calls another broker. The transaction is assembled before the property is ever formally offered. 25,000 to 45,000 square feet across multiple structures. A helipad. Underground utility infrastructure. A separate owner's wing entirely off limits to guests. The lot itself, the raw dirt, can be worth $30 to $60 million. Here's the detail that separates level 4 from everything below it. The owner does not decide what's for dinner, does not know who services the HVAC. There is an entire operational layer between the owner and the property, and that layer runs quietly, invisibly, and without interruption. Level 5. The Billionaire Campus. $150 million to $300 million. At this level, the word mansion stops applying. This is not a house. This is a private campus. 8 to 12 buildings across one property. There are not guest bedrooms. There are guest residences with their own entries, their own kitchens, their own staff, underground tunnels connecting buildings, private power generation, a cinema that runs first-run films before theatrical release, a medical facility with a physician on staff. Annual operating cost, $5 to $12 million. Full-time staff of 25 to 50. The owner manages none of them directly. This is what $200 million buys. Not rooms, not views. The permanent, total removal of friction from the physical environment. Level 6. The Dynastic Estate. $300 million to $600 million. This is where property stops being an asset and becomes a legacy instrument. Dynastic estates are not acquired in a single transaction. They are assembled over decades. The founding family does not think about this property in terms of their lifetime. They think about it in terms of their name across time. Stone sourced from a single quarry, reserved decades in advance. Timber kiln-dried for years before installation. Every material chosen not for how it looks in 2025, but for how it will perform in 2025. 50,000 to 100,000 square feet. Multiple wings for multiple family branches. A private chapel. A family archive building housing documents and objects that predate the estate itself. Annual operating cost, $10 to $20 million. Staff of 40 to 80. The family interacts with the estate the way a CEO interacts with a company. Strategically, never operationally. Level 7. The final level. The Palace. $600 million and above. In 2015, a single plot of land in London sold for £250 million. No structure, just the dirt and the right to build on it. The buyer didn't blink. Because at level 7, you are no longer purchasing property. You are purchasing permanence itself. These properties do not enter the market. They transfer. From sovereign to sovereign, from dynasty to dynasty. The transaction is managed by private bankers, estate attorneys, and government ministries. Buckingham Palace, 828,000 square feet, 775 rooms, 39 acres in central London. Estimated value exceeds $5 billion, a number that is academic because it will never be tested by a market transaction. Istana Nurul Iman in Brunei, 2.15 million square feet, 1,788 rooms, a banquet hall that seats 4,000, built for $1.4 billion. Will never be on the open market. Who presides over level 7? Not buyers, not owners, dynasties. The property is not an expression of their success. It is an expression of their continuation. Real estate started as a simple idea, a roof, a door, a place where the outside world stops and your world begins. And somewhere between the $10 million gated entry and the palace that doesn't have a price because it doesn't need one, something changed. The product stopped being shelter. The product became permanence. A jet takes you somewhere. A yacht keeps you moving. A house stays. It holds the Sunday mornings and the specific quality of light on a winter afternoon that no one else will ever see from that exact window. The mansion was never the destination. The permanence was. That is what this market actually sells. Not square footage, not stone and steel and glass. Time, held still, in a specific place on Earth, with your name on the door. If this changed how you see it, subscribe. I break down how power actually works, not how it appears from the outside. See you in the next one.